everybody, welcome to my channel, Grow Leafy. I'm Alethea. Today we are going to start seeds indoors. That was a mistake! Oh my goodness! I just dropped a whole bunch of seeds in my packet. That's a mistake. Are you running out of time and just wondering if there's enough time to start seeds indoors? Well, it's getting very close to spring, and it is that time for me to begin seeds indoors. Some people start a couple of months to 3 months indoors. Right now, I am looking at about 6 weeks indoors to get started with seeds. So some of the seeds that I probably would have wanted to start should have started a little bit earlier, but I'm a very busy gardener. And so I am now looking at 6 weeks out, maybe even 5 to 6 weeks out to start my seeds indoors. But it is still enough time for me to at least get these seeds germinating and get them sprouted and getting some of these true leaves starting to develop in my tray cells. And so that's what we're going to look at today, is getting these seeds started. So let's just take a look at what we have here. So I've got my seed packets, of course. I have bell peppers, Ashley cucumbers, marigold flowers. It's always great to have flowers in and around your garden. Tomatoes, they are super sweet 100 hybrid tomato seeds. And also some Swiss chard. I have Swiss chard and a bright light Swiss chard. It's 2 different kinds of Swiss chard. I have my seed starting mix that is here that I got from a local supplier, and they make the mix themselves. It is actually a very large bag, but just to give you an idea of some of the ingredients that are in here, there is cocoa coir, peat moss, perlite, vermiculite, dolomite lime, worm casting, kelp meal, and the list goes on. There's just a few other ingredients that are in there. And I've already moisturized it with some water, and I actually used just some pH balanced water that I have that I usually use for my microgreens, but really you can just use water. And so I've already moisturized it because it came pretty dry, and so I had to moisturize it. And then we'll water it a little bit too once we put the seeds in. And then I've got my trays. These trays are 3-inch size trays. And then I have a tray on the bottom as well, so that I can bottom water it throughout the time. So you can see the trays, 3-inch size tray as well. And then I've got the dome top to cover it up to create a nice growing environment for the seeds. And I've got my seed packets, I've got my seed bins, and then the other thing I've got too, lean over and grab that, is a heating mat that I want to use because the room that I'm in, it gets pretty cool. Some of the seeds are fine with germinating in my cooler environment, such as my lettuces, kales, but you know, a lot of those leafy greens have done okay when I've made microgreens and when I have grown my plants indoors, but then some other just do not like it and just need this extra little boost. So I'm going to use this as well to give an extra boost to the temperature and creating a nice, somewhat warm environment for the seeds as they are germinating. And then also, I actually just went online and pulled up a website. It was the almanac.com website, which you can find out when your last frost date is for the spring, because that is very important to know. You basically want to know when your last frost date is, and then calculate backwards how many weeks you need to start your seeds indoors in advance. So some of these seeds need 3 to 4 weeks in advance of starting indoors. Some of them more, 6 to 8 weeks. So the seeds that I am putting in these cells today are seeds that require 6 to 8 weeks, most of them 6, but around 6 to 8 weeks of advanced indoor starting. And then I will start another set of seeds in the next few weeks, and those ones require 3 to 4 weeks before I start actually planting outdoors. And so what I did is I just basically printed this information from this website, and it was very helpful because it tells you on here the listings of different crops, the start seeds indoors time frame, when you should start indoors, when the plant seedlings, or when it needs to be transplanted, or when to plant the seedlings. That's what I was trying to say. And then also for some of those seeds that just need to start outdoors, or just when you need to start them outdoors, but just in general, if you're not starting seeds indoors, when to start them. So it's very helpful because it gives you all of this list of information that I think is very beneficial. And what I did is, to help myself be organized with it, I just went ahead and highlighted. So I grouped them and highlighted. So the yellow highlights are the ones that I need to do today. And then the green that I highlighted, and throughout the papers I put little highlight marks on there, and the green highlights when I need to do my 3 to 4 weeks types of seeds indoors to get those started. So that, for example, was the summer squash, and then another flower, I believe it was like a zinnia, another flower that I will be doing at that time. Yes, zinnias. And then the pink I just highlighted. I love color coding. It is helpful. But the pink is just alerting me and letting me know that those seeds just need to be planted directly in the soil outdoors. So just to help you get organized, that is something you may want to consider as well. Or you could just use a blank calendar and lay that out as well on there. So I could actually take that information, take a blank slate of a calendar, and just add that information on there just to keep you organized. So I'm just going to go ahead and just start filling these trays up. With these 3-inch size cells, I am able to keep the plants in here much longer than if I were to use a 1-inch or 2 or 2.5-2-inch size cell tray. I won't have to transplant this into something else. And so the good thing about it being this size is that I can keep everything in here until the day that I'm ready to actually put it into the garden. Push this down just a little bit, but I don't want to push it down to the point where I'm tightening this up or clumping things together. I'm not trying to do that, but I'm just trying to give just a little bit of push on it. I do not want the seeds to fall into it and fall into pockets in there, so I'm trying to just kind of remove the pockets. But at the same time, I don't want it to be so compacted, where I've compacted it to the point where there's no oxygen, and the seeds become lodged in it. So I'm just doing it gently. And then it gives me an idea of how much more I need to put in there as well. Doesn't have to be perfect. There's no such thing as perfect in gardening. You just do what you got to do. You experiment, you learn, and you just keep it moving. Once I add water to this, it will also form together, because I want to moisturize it as well. Okay, let me go ahead and put a little bit more on some of these. Not all of them. I'm going to leave a little bit so I can put some on top as well. Okay. That looks good. It's good. All right. I think that looks pretty good. All right, so now for our seeds. I'm going to start with, actually what I'm going to start with are the Bright Light Swiss Chard. I think I want to have 4 cells for that, and then I'm going to probably end up thinning this out a little bit later, but I'm going to make 2 different areas for that. I don't want to go too deep, so let me do that again. Alright. So obviously I'm not going to have 2 in here that stay, and I'm going to slightly gently thin it out at some point, and thinning out is where if I put a couple of seeds in here, I'm going to have only 1 in here, and I'm going to remove the other, but I want to get a good germination, and I don't know which seed is going to be the best, but I want to keep the strongest one, and if there's a seed that doesn't germinate well, then you know, I don't have to worry that I didn't get anything at all. So I have 2 different varieties, so I think I'm going to split this. And if I wanted to put 3 in there, I could. I'm just going to put 2 per cell. This is the other Swiss Chard. Okay. And then I'm going to cover this up. See, I'm not putting it too deep in at all. So as you can see, it's not deep in there. I'm not trying to lose the seeds in the cells and they're not able to germinate. I'm not trying to do that. Just going to cover it up. Another thing is, you need to always have your markers. The other very important thing is to make sure that you are marking your trays so that you don't forget what you put down in there. The next one we will do will be tomatoes. So as I was cutting this seed packet, I realized, looking inside and wondering, where are the seeds? There were no seeds in here. I have never seen this before. The company did not put seeds in the seeds packet. Let me show my face because you got to see this. The company did not put seeds in the seed packet? Really? Huh? Okay. So, you know what? We're always prepared. And it's a good thing I have seeds from last year still left over, and there's a bunch of them, and so I will use these seeds. Sometimes you just got to choose your battles. You can go and purchase seeds for $2.99 down the street. Just go on and get some seeds. Don't make it a big deal. You know, we are trying to take care of ourselves. You know, this channel is also about self-care. And sometimes self-care is just choosing your battles, not getting all worked up over certain things. Sometimes it's just not even worth it. All right, so these probably, I might put a third tomato seed on, just kind of like sprinkle on top, because these seeds are so small and I really don't want them to get lost in there. And so what I might do is I am putting 3 in here, and I might make myself a little note that I did that, and then I'm just going to sprinkle one very lightly on top, just right there, and that's it, just in case those other ones I put too deep and they don't germinate well. Telling you, if you don't mark it, you might forget it. These are bell peppers. Some people do soak their seeds if they want to get a quicker germination rate. I do that a lot for my indoor growing. I do soak my seeds. That's actually how I germinate them. This time I want to try something different. I could have did that as well for this, but I just want to do something different. Break that up. I don't want any large chunks over it, even though seeds are very strong. When they start to germinate, they will push their way up. You can put a heavy weight on seeds, and you'll see in my other videos that I make, I put heavy weights on my microgreen trays, and those seeds will push right through. To be very gentle with your thinning and your transplanting. That is very important, that you put care to it, that you're not rough with it too much, but you want to be careful so that you don't destroy the roots, and because there is a lot of shock to these plants when they are transplanted, but they do know how to thrive and bounce right back. It's pretty amazing. You want to make sure that you are also reading seed packets. That is very important. Seed packets will give you all the information that you need in terms of when to sow, how deep to sow it, how the spacing should be, how long it will take to maturity. So it is very, very, very important that you are reading your seed packets. Reading your seed packets and also doing a little research online about the type of plant that you are trying to grow. All I'm doing is just spraying it down now with water. This is just pH balanced water, like I said, that I use when I use my microgreens. You don't have to do that. You can just use water, but I'm just going to use the water that I have, and I'm going to moisturize this. The good thing about this is that I have it on a spray setting, so it is not going to overdo it. And then what I can do is bottom water this when I need to, since I have this tray sitting in another tray, and any excess water that goes in this will just seep down to the bottom. But what I love about having a tray on the bottom is that I can actually bottom water, and that's what I'm actually going to do, especially once these really start sprouting. I will bottom water this, and the water from the bottom will wick up into the potting mix. Make sure that you subscribe to this channel. I hope that there was something that you learned, and then I hope that there was at least one thing that you learned, something that you can share with someone else, or something that you can use on your own. And make sure that you subscribe to my channel as well. And I'm going to have many other videos as well to show different processes of how I start seeds indoors, how I start them outdoors, and then how I grow microgreens and plants indoors and then also outdoors. So make sure that you watch the different videos that I have posted. What I'm going to do is put this on my rack under my grow lights. I already have the heat mat set up already, and I'm going to put that on that shelf. And I'm going to leave the lights, the grow lights, on between 14 to 16 hours. I'm going to start with 14 to 15 hours and see how it does with that. But these are LED lights, so they don't get hot, so I don't have to worry about the plants burning or anything like that. But they provide all the light that it needs. And this dome that I put on top of it, if it becomes, there's too much condensation and the humidity just builds up way too much, then I can also open this part up on top. There's a slit, there's a little slit that I will actually put on top. I'm going to close it and seal it up, but I can open it up so that there is less condensation. And, you know, make sure that you just check it every day, even twice a day. You'll open it up. Make sure you monitor the temperature. If you do not have some kind of device to check the temperature, you might want to look into investing in one so that you know what kind of temperature that your tray cell is receiving and the seeds are receiving. That's very important. That way you know what you need to adjust each day based on the temperature that is within your room and the temperature that your seed, your cells are feeling, are experiencing. So I check my temperature every single day. So I hope that you like this video. I hope that there was something that you were able to learn from it. Just start. Just go ahead and start your seeds. There's still enough time. If you feel like you just did not, you know, meet the mark to get the seeds that you wanted to get started at the 6 to 8 week or the 8 to 12 weeks types of seeds and plants that need that much in advance, kind of like a boost, you can always just start them outdoors, or go on ahead and just start maybe some plants that are 3 to 4 weeks. But just give it a shot. Some people get discouraged and they feel like, oh, I wasn't very successful, and they give up. Don't give up, just try. I have tried over and over and over until, I've had some successes and I'm still learning, but just try. Other than that, just remember to grow leafy, subscribe to my channel, and if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and I will see you next time.